Okay. Now, after first of all, my dad is late, and I lost my dad in 2010. I lost my dad in 2010, and now before I lost my dad, I was actually in senior secondary school. Okay, yeah, we'll have to record this. Hold up.
Recording in progress.
Okay. Now, before I lost my dad, my father was like rushing us through school and this school, and we came back home and we were just living at home. That was when I started thinking of how can I even support my own parents, because I'll see some people who were my age, they go out in the morning to hawk things. So I now asked them if I could join them. They said yes, I could join them. So I started joining them. Now um I joined some of them who used to go and hawk bitter cola in the express. We used to live in Obakala in Abia State. So in that Obakala, people going to Aba, there's an express there. People going to Aba, people coming from Aba, that's the major express. So that police checkpoint, they will stay there and be hawking bitter cola. Me, what I used to hawk was pure water and granite. So that's whenever I'm traveling by road and I saw people running to cars to come and hawk this, sometimes I just used to dash them money because I've been there before. So I was hawking all these pure water and granola. Some people hawking bitter cola. Some days I'll carry one bag of pure water with that transparent rubber. I will not finish that one bag of pure water because sometimes people will not buy it. It will now get warm and everything to lose the coolness or something. So I have to now tell my parents, okay, then that place is not working. There's a place they call slaughter. It's like an abattoir where they kill cow and all of that. So it's like a slaughter. They call it slaughter in Abia States. So I said, okay, let me be going there to sell that. I knew somebody who was selling granite there. He was used to finish his own every day. I was like, okay, let me follow him. So I started following that guy. So I will go to that place and I will sell the pure water and granite and everything. So that place was a bit better than Express because I was selling everything. This, by the way, this was when my father was still alive, but in 2010. So my father could not. My father is somebody that my father had a business in Kaduna during the Sharia war. I think it was 1999 or 2000. They burnt down my father built the house in Kaduna. He built the house. They burnt down the house. Killed his junior sister, my auntie Ada. I saw them cut off her head in my presence there. They did not kill. I think she went to fight with them. That was why they cut off her head, because they did not kill children and women. That was how my life was spent. If I don't kill me since. So but I watched them kill her and everything. So after we ran for our life, my father abandoned everything in the north. He was an architect and everything. So he abandoned everything there in Kaduna and we came back to the east. So it was difficult for me. He had a company, he had staff, they had burned down everything. Him and the partner he had a company with took over everything. It was difficult for him to just continue life. He couldn't go and work for somebody. I have never seen my father wake up in the morning and carry bag around that he's going to work for somebody. My mom kept saying it, just go and get the job. My father would say he was still looking for how to just kick off. So he couldn't start from the scratch. He was able to just make one quick money and boom, everything was started up. But he did not want to work for anybody. I've never seen any of my parents stand up to go and work for anybody any morning. We're always at home in the morning. So my father did not like the idea, so he went to go and take it. He went to Zan and said, okay, let he get my father was good with math. He was one that taught me mathematics. He said, let you get a lesson where you'll be teaching people how to do math, where you'll be teaching students how to do math. And there was a school close to our house. He went to meet the principal. They said, okay, but he's not going to work in the schools after school lesson and everything. So he started working there. He couldn't even do that for 1 month. He was just looking for any opportunity. He went into politics. He won councillorship, I think. I don't know what happened again. Politics messed him up. He left politics. He came back. He was just trying to make everything that would just make him make a lot of money at once. He did not want to start from the scratch again. So he then towards that 2010, we started hearing one thing about a pendulum, this pendulum inside a clock. It was raining, that was golden color. The pendulum inside the clock, it was raining everywhere, it's golden color and everything, that you can sell it for millions and everything. I don't know if you're here, if you remember when that was raining. That pendulum that goes left and right in those olden days big clock. Now you know what I'm talking about. There was a time it was raining that it was the new gold, that once you get it, you will blow. Something like that. It was just raining everywhere. My father, I remember he used to have two in the village. He traveled to the village, he gathered the thing. I don't know if he went to go and meet all of our village members. and packed all the whole pen because he came back home after about 2 weeks to our house. It's like a rice bag full of all that whole thing. And I said he was going to Port Harcourt. So he packed everything. That was beginning of February of 2010. He packed everything and boom, he left. He traveled out that February, April, May, June, July. We were only talking to him on phone once in a while when he would call my mom. He was always that money is coming. Now, in fact, that once he come back, he's coming back with Ghana must go of money that God has. That in fact, we've entered money. In fact, I was start making plans of things we wanted to buy. Now, when he traveled, I was the one supporting my mom because my mom is a hairdresser. She could not even maintain the shop she had, take care of us. So she had to now be making hair from home. So I'll go out in the morning and hawk. Some days, if we don't have money to buy maybe pure water to hawk or something, me and Vincent will go to our backyard, things like water leaf. We'll go and pick water leaf there, remove all the flower parts, tie it, and go and hawk it. Like it was. I don't think there's anything that I can hawk on the road I've not hawked. Pawpaw, granite, water leaf, coconuts, ugu. Like I'm trying to think of the I'm trying to think of the particulars I see people hawking that I've never hawked before. I don't think there is. So my father came back July 2014. July, I was hearing that he was telling my mother that he wasn't feeling so fine. His leg has swollen up and everything. So my mother was like, okay, so what are you planning to do? Come back. That was June rather. He finally came back in July. Now, the day he came back, July 22nd. He came back July 22nd. Then he came back in the night, midnight. Went to the park and carried him. He said, come and carry him in the park. And we're like, carry him. That means he couldn't walk to the park. Went to the park, his leg was smelling, it has swollen up and everything, as in elephantiasis. Like his leg was like this big, two of them. We're not like, what happened? Had to carry him to the house. He was just in that there. He said there was one house someone that was treating that if you see they've used razor and cut the whole thing. It was just looking messed up. So we took him to the house that 23rd night and 22nd night. So the 23rd, the morning, we were like, what's the plan? He said that he just wants to come and just walk on his legs more, that he will go back. He was not saying that we should go and look out who Buru got Ecolag back from. That he's going to go back and bring money and come back. that in fact that what they went to do. We're like, okay. So that 23rd, all of us is making an arrangement of our friends that have Ecolag bag that we can borrow. So 23rd night, me and my elder sisters, because I'm the first son, I have two elder sisters. I have two elder siblings, but they're ladies. So we went for choir practice. I used to play drums in church, all this small church. When they went to ordain my father, he did not plan to be a pastor there. I don't know if they ordained him because his family was so many. There were 7 of us. With my father, with my dad, 8 of us. So if 8 of us enter, you know this small church. If 8 of us enter the church is already full. There's no chair again. So I don't know what if I was why they ordained my father, but he was never into the whole church thing. My own father's policy was that you as his child must go to church. He doesn't care the church you go to. So that's why my family, all of us go to pretty much different churches. You must go to church, but he wasn't really into the whole church thing that he would go, no. So we went that day, we went to choir practice that day. So on our way back, my junior ran out of the area where we used to live. We saw her running towards our direction. What happened? She said, Daddy just slumped. What do you mean Daddy just slumped? So me and we said, okay, Comfort, follow her to go. And she said she was going to call the pastor. Comfort, follow her and call pastor. Me and Evelyn will run back to the house. So when we got back to the house, I'm sorry, I know I'm going into all these small details so that you see when I do something, sometimes you wonder where this thing is coming from. I'm trying to pass through all these small unnecessary details. That has nothing to do with you or nothing to do with our business. Just stay with me. So we went back home that day and all the neighbors were already gathered. My mom was crying. They already sat him up. He was breathing. He was talking. He kept saying that there's nothing wrong with him. Everybody should just say there's nothing wrong with him. Well, like he just slumped. We were just talking and he just slumped and you're saying there's nothing wrong with you. So everybody was then suggesting the kind of medicine we'll buy just to give him for that night. And nobody was really particular about taking him to the hospital because I don't know, because there was no money. Nobody was even talking about that, but we're just suggesting the kind of medicine to get. So they now told me the medicine to buy. I went out that night to get the medicine and to buy a candle. I was running out. I did not even go out with I could remember I couldn't look for slippers. I just ran out barefooted. I went at it. It was getting late. So all the shops were closed. I went to the very far place. I was running to and fro to get a candle and that drug that came in there. After I bought the and I came back, he said he should drink it. They forced it to his mouth. He drank the whole thing. Pastor was there. They prayed. After the pastor prayed, and I said, okay, then in the morning we'll make plans on how to get into the hospital. After the pastor left, after a couple of while, I was just now with him, just talking with him. I was holding his hand, just telling him that, don't worry, that was on a Thursday. I was telling him that the next day, which is Friday, he's going to follow us to night vigil, that in fact, it's going to be fine and everything. I was talking to him, he was responding, he was like, no problem, no problem. He kept answering. At some point, he just stopped answering. After he stopped answering, I was still talking, he stopped answering. So everybody was there. I was like, I was talking to him. So one man who was there, he just called me and said, Samuel, come. I followed him outside. I don't know when he went to go and tell my mom. My mom just started shouting. I think he told my mom that he had gone or something. I was talking with him. I never know he was there. So he took me outside. They locked the door. I could not believe it because it was funny to me. I'm like, what do you mean he's dead? I just went and slept off that night. I was like, I beg, everybody should just leave me alone. I went and slept off that night. I woke up in the morning and realized everybody in the house, people were crying. They locked the parlor because he was still there. They say he had passed on. Wow. So after that, before my father died, I was the kind of person that I don't know if I should use the word wayward. I would just do anything anyhow. I don't care because my father is somebody that I've never seen somebody as, honestly, I've never seen a human being as intelligent as my father in the whole of this world. Somebody as calculated and intelligent as he is, I've never. Somebody who could speak. I mean, I've never. So I was doing anything and I was depending on anything bad as a bad, I want to call my father. So after he died, there was nobody else to call. And we're owing the landlord a lot. The landlord came to the house after about 2 days after he died. They said they were going to take him to the mortuary. And before my father died, he kept telling that my uncle, that my family friend, we call him Uncle Imo, that was there. He kept telling him that none of his child to go and live with his brother. He kept saying it. Nobody knew why he was saying it. He kept saying to my dad that none of us should go and live with any of his brother. That none of I mean, when he was still there struggling, he kept saying it with his mouth. But after he died that morning, his brother came in from different states. His brothers came in. They looked at the whole thing. They said, okay, we have to take him to the mortuary close to my village. So they packed him that night. We left that night because he stayed almost the whole day. They packed him from that place to the mortuary close to my village. That was when my life opened, that my real life has started. After we took him to the mortuary, my uncle said we should follow him. Well, like my dad said, no, but we should not follow any of them. So we followed my mom and went back to the place. So my dad was still in the mortuary. The next day, after we put in the mortuary, we told our grandmom, she was crying. The next day, after just about 3 days after I lost him, we had to eat food because nobody was coming to talk about how people eating, nothing. We had to eat food. So I had to go back into selling my pure water and granola in slaughter and everything. I still had a feeling that my father was still somewhere until the landlord sent some people to come and remove the roof in our house. Because when our brothers came, he came and told them that we're owing, they said, okay, they will send him money. They did not send him money. He now sent some people to come and remove the roof in our house. And that day rain fell and damaged everything in the house. So that day, we only removed our last one, Emmanuel. I told my mom all of us stay in that place. The rain was falling. We said we were not living here because of our things that we stayed there. The rain and everything happened. That was when my real eyes opened. That was when I realized, man, your father is not coming anytime to rescue you guys. Because I was thinking maybe they were pranking us, that he would just come out and be like, boom. That was what I was feeling. That was when it dawned on me that this man is not coming out anytime soon, like he's gone. I got angry. I almost fought to the people who were trying to remove the roof. I brought out and I said, I'm going to kill them here. I was so little. I was just a little child. This was meant. They were just laughing. I was like, I did everything, but nothing happened. That was when I decided, okay. After my father's burial, I went to stay with my uncles. Now, living with my uncles, I was just being tossed around and everything. This one will hold me small. This one will throw me to this one. Because I was a very hardworking person. So they liked the So anyone who had a project, one of my uncles had, it was a electrical engineer that would do all this. So they used to submit bid, government will approve. Sometimes they give them big bid. He will tell this other one to send Samuel. I'll go and work with him. We'll solve maths to get his bidding and everything. We'll be doing the maths percentage of this one. I was doing all those things. If he finished with me, he'll throw me back to this other one. So they were just throwing me around. Now, the only thing they had on me was that every time they'll promise you that they'll train me in school. So that was how I agreed. So I went back, by the way, I went back to senior secondary school again, did SS1, SS3, wrote my WAEC at the senior and federal government college, Enugu, as an art student. I didn't want to be an art student. So I never bothered checking that because I was already angry. So when there was the time I was told back to our last born, and I told him about everything, and I said, okay, no, that since I want to be a science student, he's going to make me be a science student. Now I had to go back to secondary school again. So that was why if you hear me say I've spent 9 years in senior secondary school, that is the reason. I've gone to SS3, 3 different times, once as a science student, second one as an art student, the third time as a science student, okay? So I went back to secondary school again. That was when I went to, that was when in Abuja, the junior secondary school in Abuja, federal, forgotten the name. Federal Government College. Is it Federal Government College? In Dusseldorf. So I went to that school and I finished my work again. Now I woke up one day and I looked at the people that I finished secondary school with the second time, not even the first time. If I go to Facebook, I'll see them posting how they are now in third year, second year, finishing school, and I'm just going out of secondary school. I was not even feeling bad. I was celebrating like, wow, nice one, nice one. I mean, I talk about matriculation, all those kind of things. I don't know what that means. So after I left school again, I wrote the jam. I scored about I think I scored about 250 something. But what I wrote, what my uncle said I should pick was medicine. And I did not want to be a medical doctor. So I picked medicine. So, and I picked UNN. So UNN said for you to study medicine, you need to have at least 280 cutoff mark. So I could not go for that medicine post UME. He said he will go do anything that I should study medicine, even if he has to pay in a private school. So I went to Madonna University, LLA. I wrote my post UME in Madonna Okija, so I got the admission in Madonna LLA to study medicine. So I went there. My uncle just paid a couple of some of the money. I had not paid everything. We never paid school fees. I don't know what he paid, but it's just small thing he paid. I think it's only clearance or something. So I was in school for about 6 months. They kept telling us those that just started, I did not finish paying. How can you just start school on that credit that you never started at all and everything? So I had to be. The school was just messing us up, tossing us left and right. I just woke up one day and by God's divine orchestration, I picked the book Rich Dad Poor Dad in school that day. It was the day I picked the book. It was a new book. Somebody just bought the book. There was no name on that book. And I like reading anyway, so I just started going through the book. And I read that book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, because there was no name in it, else I had to read that book. After that day, I read that book. It was like God just, it was like a puzzle. God just picked a missing puzzle and put it inside of me. After I read that book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, I was like, what? Because the only reason I agreed to go and study, the only reason I agreed to go to school and study that medicine was because I told my mom was like, but you don't want to be a medical doctor. I said, yes, but don't worry, since you're the one paying school fees, let me just go and study medicine. If I finish, I'll go and start training myself in school again to go and study engineering. That was what I told my mom. So when I read that book, I realized that if I'm just in school to make money, then there's no need, because that book told me that because you're going to school is the reason why you don't even have the money, kind of money you're looking for. That was the day I just called my uncle, I called my parents, I told everybody, and I told them, you know what, I think I'm done with school. I'm done. So when I told them my uncle who had me in school, I was expecting to say, why? What was that supposed to mean? So when I told him, I'm like, uncle, I think I want to leave school. I'm just done with school. He was like, hey, I was like, yes. He said, okay, no problem. I was like, okay. That means he did not even have plans to continue. Even himself, he said, not tired. Even the school fees alone, because school fees was about 350,000 naira. I called my mom. She was like, you're leaving school. So are you coming back to? I'm like, I'm not coming back. I'm going to Abuja. Go to Abuja to do what? To go and I'm like, I'm going to sort myself out. And that was how I entered the city of Abuja. Going to the city of Abuja, I'm used to being alone because I've been to body school a lot. So I normally take care of myself. I'm used to just being in charge, making decisions for myself. I'm not used to somebody telling me what to do or anything. My father, the way he trained us, you have to just be intelligent on your own. Nobody needs to advise you. So being that way, I live with this security guy in the city of Abuja. After I had to just leave my uncles and everything, I told them I'm done. I went to stay with this security guy. I got a job where they happiness printer where they upload materials and everything. I got a job as a call center rep. I lost the job. I lost the job towards the ending of 2018. Now, people who were part of our department after I lost the job, her name was Veronica. I think she should be in this meeting right now. She used to be my boss Vivian's friend. They also went to Madonna University. So she knew we talked about some things in Madonna. Then we were in Happiness Roofing Tiles. So she now told me about okay. Then she had seen La Buena Vida project, the Own Your Life campaign. Then she now told me about it that maybe there's some people there who need secretary that work for them. That she just go there and see if they'll give me a job. Because I was a laborer before them. So I just go there and see if they'll give me a job. Instead of being a laborer, since I'm no longer working in Happiness Roofing Tiles. So I dressed up that day. I went to town. And I called boss Viv after we've been talking. I called her. She now said, okay, there's somebody that is looking for a secretary, and it was Nelson's mom. So I was supposed to meet Nelson's mom that day. So I dressed up, I came to town. I waited for her in the office. I waited, she did not show up. I was like, God. When I thought God has answered my prayer, at least let me get a job in town. Because if you're in Abuja, Duse is not even part of Abuja. Once you pass Guarimpa and start going, that's when you're entering Abuja. So I was like, let me finally get a job in town, but she was not around. I was like, I can't believe it, because I spent money to come to town. I spent almost 1,000 naira. It was painful. I was like, Kai. So I left that day. So I called Bobby. I was like, the lady did not show up. Oh. She's like, are you serious? So I called her. She was like, something came up. She couldn't come. I was like, she was like, she come the next day. The next day I dressed up and went again. She did not show up again. I'm talking about next month. She's in this meeting right now. So I was like, man, I'm in the office. She said she's coming. I waited there till evening. She did not show up. I had to leave. I was like, God, I can't believe this. I was like, no. I was like, maybe God don't want me to get the job. So I was ready to go. So I came and met, but I told her, is there anything you can do that I really need this job? I explained to her and everything. She said, okay. That she doesn't want to, but maybe I should just work for her. So she sat down. She was like, okay. She started asking me about the job. She said I would be giving questionnaires, 25 questionnaires daily. We talked about the salary. She asked where I was coming from. So she said, okay, we start my salary from 20,000. She did not even know where Duce was. I thought she knew. She did not know where the Duce was. That's why I started working for Boss Vivian. So I started working for her, and I was excited. My excitement was that I would go out of the house every day and go and do a job. I was excited that I had a job because I was like, I was not qualified to have a job because I believe that because I don't have the certificate, I shouldn't have a job. That was what I just believed. So if to even have a job inside town whereby I have to dress, I have to look neat. The job I used to normally have is being a laborer. So I used to wear dirty clothes. I want to make interlocks, carry cement sometimes. So now I had a job that would require me looking neat and wear clothes and going to town. I was excited. That was my excitement. So that was 2018, towards the end of 2018. So I started working for her. Now, while I was working for her, honestly, I did not even know what the business was. I did not know it was multi-level marketing, nothing. She said my job was to give out questionnaires. My only excitement was that I had a job. So she said I was supposed to give out 25 questionnaires daily. The first day I went out, I gave out 38 questionnaires. So she came back, she said, how many did you give? I'm like, I did not even count. When I counted to 38, she was like, wow, that's very good. She said, I hope you're not going to start giving it all this back. I was like, no. I was just excited giving the questionnaires when I was giving it up because I was like, man, I now had a job. Somebody's going to pay me for this. The only way I use my energy and I make money. So I was excited. So I had the job. I was like, oh, I'm going to do this the best possible way. By the way, anything I want to do, if I'm not going to do the best, I don't even get involved. So I was doing all of this. I was doing this. Until one day, because I'm supposed to close by 5. So once I close by 5, I'll just pack my things and go. And presentation there used to be 5 o'clock. So I never used to see presentation. Until one day, somebody launched a car. I forgot who launched a car in Shalom Plaza. I was like, wow, is it this place to buy? I didn't know what we're doing, but somebody bought car with it. I'm like, wow, nice. So one day she now said, I'm supposed to be staying. So if I book people, I'm supposed to stay when they attempt it. So I'll know those I will follow up on. I don't even know what follow up was. I was like, okay. So that I sat down for presentation. I was at the back there. And as God may have it, it was Ambassador Nefo that presented that day in Suite 5, Shalom Plaza, 5 p.m. on a Thursday. Because honestly, I did not like multi-level marketing because the first exposure I got to multi-level marketing was GNLD. And the man who was shouting about making the millions was wearing one dirty clothes. His teeth were yellow. And he was telling us how to make millions with his shoe. One was bent. So I was very pissed about what multi-level marketing was. So I was like, I was not interested. So when I sat down and I was talking, I was like, what any man is saying, I was interested. I was like, wow. And by the way, before then, he had told me I did not need money, I needed knowledge. So I somehow did not even like him small because the man said I don't need money, I need knowledge. So I still had my own resentment for him. So after he was talking that day, I was like, wait, is this what we're doing here? I was like, you mean this is what we're doing here? I could not believe it. I was like, oh my goodness. I told my leader, I'm ready. I'm like, oh, she was like, are you ready? I start the business. I'm like, start the business. I was like, hi. There was no way to start the business. I was like, okay. But I now told her once, and I said, ma, the fact I've seen this and I like it, forget about me. You've hit a jackpot. Like, I know I'm not starting the business, but when you look at this, me, just know that I don't need any motivation. You don't need to motivate me. You don't even need to train me. Forget about it. I'll go and look for how to train myself. You don't even need to do anything. The fact I have decided I want to do this thing, just go and look for where it will match you the most. Just go and place me there. Don't put anybody on, forget about anything. Just consider that you've hit a jackpot. Just forget about it. That was what I told her then. So I said I wanted to run the business, but then I just started the business. So I said, okay, I was observing everybody coming to the business. People were mostly coming with complaints. They come and be like, the people I booked did not sign up. So I was like, do you guys understand what this thing is talking about? I was like, do the people really understand this business? I wasn't in the business, but I was pissed about what they were doing. I'm like, all you have to do is focus on how to build people for 1 year, 2 years, even if it's 10 years. I was like, wait, though, even if it's 10 years and you're financially free, is it not worth it? Now going to work for 35 years. What are people even saying? So I couldn't contain myself. I was like, how can I start this business? Luckily for me, I told my leader, oh yeah, boss, hold that apartment of 10K. Let me save money and start the business. I was doing everything to start the business. Went for the retreat in 2018 December. I went as a secretary. I wasn't part of the business. I started out for the retreat. January retreat, I now started for the retreat. After January retreat, I was like, man, I must start this business. And once I start, I'm going to leave Abuja. Because I was telling them that every time I tell them I want to go and present, they'll say, present what? They'll tell me to sit down first. I will tell them I want to go and do QSG. If they say, there's nobody to do QSG, I will rush and carry laptop. Give me laptop. I wanted to be doing this thing because I was telling them I can do it. I can do it. Now, they did not want me to do it because I did not look like it. Because if you look at me, I once heard somebody say, you want to go talk? Who you think? I don't think anybody will listen to you. I once heard somebody say that. Yes. So I was like, I know I can do this thing. Just allow me do it. So nobody wanted me to do it. So I was not like, man, I have to leave Abuja, because if I'm in Abuja, the little light I feel I have will not be appreciated. But if I go to a place where nobody knows me, by the time I'm presenting, there's nobody else better to present. You say, oh yeah, come and present for us. So I said, okay, I wanted to leave Abuja. And I heard Mr. Fake talking about going to Warri once. I said, I beg, where again will get way house? They're talking about Warri is a good. I'm like, man, let's go. I want to go to Warri. So I now said, okay, going to Warri, how do we get to Warri? Mr. Fake said that he's even planning to run an event in Warri. I'm like, you plan to run an event in Warri? That means we have to go to Warri. If we have to go to Warri, that means I have to be with you, Warri. I'm sorry, please hold on one sec. Sorry about that. So I now packed up my bag the next day, and I said I'm going to Warri. I packed up my bag the next day. Ifeanyi now said that he wanted to join me to go to Warri. And I said, yeah, let's go now. I packed up my bag the next day. He came and met me close to where I used to work before. And we entered, we went to the park, and boom, we're on our way to Warri. We entered and we got to Warri. On our way to Warri, I was sending message to everybody. You get anywhere where I stay for Warri. You get anywhere where I stay for Warri. Nobody was replying. When we got to Warri, and I told him, and we've arrived Warri. As he did now, we don't have anywhere to stay. He was like, what? I'm like, I don't make any plans. It's like, they don't have anywhere to stay. I was calling my mom if she knew any of our village person who stays in Warri, anybody at all, where we could just sleep that night. So I called some people, Mr. Femi. They said, okay, they were having one training in one Okuemi hotel. I was like, oh yeah. We entered Kike, boom, straight to Okuemi hotel. We got there. They were now introducing us as some of the partners who just came from Abuja that were coming to do something great in Warri. As for people that came from Abuja, in my mind, I was like, oh, Diego. I was waiting for them to finish first. Let me tell them that I don't have anywhere to stay. They were introducing us as people that came from Abuja. As per say, even our Abuja partners are here. After they finished the hotel, I now told them, please, as it stands now, I don't have anywhere to stay in this Warri. They're like, what do you mean you don't have anywhere to stay? They were like, okay, this is a hotel. You can book any hotel. The first we had the money. I'm like, I'm going to be honest, I don't have even money to pay for any hotel right now. I just need a place to sleep for this night. Everybody was looking at me like, I don't understand. There was a man, Mr. Martins. I'm never going to forget Mr. Martins. Mr. Martins was like, people just came away. We don't have anywhere to stay. It's like, wow. I like this kind of tenacity. The man went to go and pay for Charles Davis Lodge. He went to go and pay for 2 nights. He went to go and pay for hotel for us for 2 nights. And that 2 nights he paid for us, we now went out the next day to give question, me and Ifeanyi. Before then, Water was already with Mr. Femi. We met Mr. Water. We now said, I beg. He said, was a couple. We said, if you come sleep for your house, just until we'll just get the place, just for 2 weeks. The guy now said, okay, we can come and stay in his house. With Mr. Fem, we went there. That was the house I stayed until I got that building that we were renovating, now completed building I was now relocated to, that was just how my accommodation was set out in Warri. Now, staying in Warri, the first event was coming. We did everything, planned everything. We launched and we had the event, and we did everything. Nothing was happening. Now, before we got everything on ground, I was going out every day to give questionnaire. I did not have a laptop. I did not have there was no laptop. The only thing I had was booklets and questionnaires. That's the only thing I came to Warri with. So I would go out to give out my questionnaire with my booklet in my bag. So as I'm giving out the questionnaire and somebody mistakenly tell me, but what is this all about? I will immediately sit down and break down the questionnaire for you. I'll use booklet and run presentation for you and do everything. If you mistakenly ask as if you are interested, you have I will do everything to get you started, but I did not get any sign up from it. So I started doing that. Then one day, we now had that one big event. It was from Mr. Femi. I told them, I beg, I will just join you guys. He said, okay, but we have to make the commitment. I did not have enough money to make that commitment that day. So Mr. Femi and Emma particularly, they helped me a lot. So I said, okay, I did not have money to make that commitment. I made some part of the money, but I did not pay all. So they had that event that day. Now, in that event, I went all of my way. I borrowed money both from Mr. Femi to make calls. I borrowed from MTN. I only remember about 200 and something that I borrowed money to use and do a reminder call the next day. So I did all of that. I booked everything. I did everything. I was able to book about 100 and something persons. So I did that booking that day. I had exhausted everything in me as a human being, my energy, my finance, I was finished. Me and if I had to walk from airport that day to PTI Road, that was where we stayed. So we follow Soko Estate. Some days we're following, if we're going home, we'll drive through Emma's place and collect food. So Emma was like our food plug. Yeah, Emma was like our food plug. She saved us a lot with the food part. So we'll go home that day. If we're coming out in the morning, we'll trek from there. We'll also follow there. She will give us some food. That was how we're surviving. So that day, I did everything out of my way. I booked everything. I was like, if I don't get signed up from this one, I'm finished. Nothing else can happen. Like, sign up has to come out of this. We did that event that day. Mr. Femi ran the event. I was excited. Out of that event, we got about 12 or 11 payments or so. Out of that 11 payments, 6 were mine out of that payment that day. I couldn't believe it. I'm prior to then, I don't normally get instant payment presentation. I normally get my payment from follow up and follow up. I don't used to get instant payment. I don't even used to bother. Once finished, I don't used to bother. I was just going to check who were attendance list and I'll follow up. I don't even used to care. I don't used to even expect them to pay instantly. I don't even used to care. My next is follow up and follow through. As God may have it, that day I got 6 instant payments from that questionnaire activity I was doing. Since that day up till today, I have never had any reason to give a questionnaire again. Since that day up to today. So when I even got to give a questionnaire, it's just to teach people how to do it. I've never had any reason because from that little activity that day up to today, there are over 10,000 persons that said duplicate into my team. So that's what I want to share with you. From that little activity that day, from that whole struggle, going through all those things. Now, remember the house, after me and Nipa rented that uncompleted building that we were renovating, there was no bed to put in the house. The rent they said was 100,000. We only paid them about 30-something thousand because that was the whole money we had. If I borrowed 10,000 from his brother, I had 20-something K. I had 20K and I borrowed money 5K from my mom. I carried 35K and I gave them. That was how we paid them that day. So we told them let's just enter the house. We now went to collect a ladder. It was not even. There's this black ladder the security guy used to keep outside that he used to put on the ground and spray things like corn or something. We begged him, we collected and we kept on the floor. That's what we're sleeping on for good 2 months. We're sleeping on that until we buy one small phone, until we bought one small phone rather. So we're sleeping on that thing every single day. I was trying to make all of this thing happen. It was difficult. I started with nothing. So I said we don't even need anything to start. You don't need a laptop. You don't even need a good working phone. You don't even need a father, because I know start with a father. You don't even need a business card. Because up to this day, I don't even have a business card. Even if you are interested, I give my phone number. If you call me on phone. Not that I don't even have a business card up to today. So you don't even I'm telling me I don't have a laptop. I don't have it. You make the best out of everything you have at a particular time. At a particular time, the first big event I ever had, big announcement for somebody, that it was in Noye's team, because Noye was part of the 6 people who joined me that first day. And it was from that activity that first day that I got, Noye is my power leg today. It was from that activity of that 6 payments that day, since that day up to today. Now, Noye joined my business and she was the only one who was willing to do anything. She was a banker. I now thought I have to leave that banking industry. You have to quit, because what I want to do, I have a vision for us to do this, do that. And she believed in me. And when I was saying this, and I had nothing. See, I used to come and do training for some of my teammates. After training, they went to go and buy, 2 of them called me, Noya and one woman called me by each other and said, Mr. Samuel, please, that shirt you're wearing, don't ever wear that shirt again. And I did not have singlets. I could not spare out money to buy singlets. How would I go and spare 500 and buy singlets? I could not believe that I would use that money and buy airtime instead. Man, I'm blessed enough to go and buy a packet of singlets 3-in-1 and came and gave me. A partner that joined my business that I'm trying to help become a millionaire had to go and buy a packet of singlets and she gave it to me. I went to Noye's sister's twin to run a big announcement, the first big event. That night I had to pray. I called my leader. I was like, boss, do you have any shoe you are not using? Do you have any shoe or anything? He was like, you know, went to go and take one fine shoe and packet 2 fine shoes, and they will build it to me. I was like, because I did not, I only one black shoe that the under was chopping. I could not spare money for shoe. I called my boss, Vivian, can boss spare any shoe? He sent me 2 shoes. He didn't give me that shoe. I wore the shoe. It had this green design. It was a leather shoe. You know that the shoe is very expensive. Very nice that shoe. I packaged the shoe very well. I went and I ran this big announcement the first day. When I ran that big announcement, I went with transport to go, and I made no understand I don't have transport to that. If people have to sign up from this one, no. And I come in, I'm like, ma, here's what I want to go and do. I told them I'm very scared in this class. She's like, don't worry, just there's nothing that is a walk in the park. Just go there. She just gave me a bit of a motivation. I went there that day. I ran this big event. The lady suffered and put 20-something people inside her parlor. I stood there. I presented. I did everything. Nobody signed up. There was no transport for me to leave her house. I finished the presentation around 4 o'clock. I sat down there. I was just there doing something like that. They were like, Mr. Sam, thanks for the presentation. No problem. I told them, don't worry, just do follow. People will sign up. She's like, no problem. She was like, no problem. I did not have transport to leave her house. So they come and tell me, okay, thank you. They were telling me thank you for the presentation. I knew they were telling me because you're not going to go to your house. So 7, I was still in their house. I was calling, no, I don't have transport to leave here. Can you help me just sort out 1K? So like, okay, she's trying to borrow money to send to me. I said, I'll call your half. I said, don't worry, she's coming. So 7, I see they there. I don't know. I think she now called us and just told that. I don't know what she told us. So we're just there, gisting. I don't have transport to leave her house. And I was in Ughelli. One lady that person now walked in who was living close to her. Now said, okay, that please, and that can she still get that mastermind slot that she wants to make a payment of 5,000 naira cash? I was like, God. When she find that 5,000, I was like, okay, no problem, I can get it. Maybe I took money from there, I took my transport. Maybe I got back, I replaced it from the money when I sent. That was how I got transport to live there that day. So you can't wait for everything to look good because you're trying to be a diamond. I have to tell people something. Why do you have to wait? Hold on. Why do you have to wait? What you told yourself is that you're trying to become a diamond. If you say you want to help people, you want to make these things better for people, you want to help touch people's life positively, you have to become a diamond. So what pained me the most, if you see all these things that I've been through, all these things, if you hear my life, if you hear my story, where I am today does not look like where I've been before. If you knew me as of 4 years ago, if you knew someone 4 years ago and see where I am today, there is no connection to these two parts. In fact, I told somebody yesterday, let me tell you what I used to look like. Just enter the street, go to anywhere they are building. Don't go and pick up one of these boys who are doing the laborer work. Ask the person, I live with your father or mother? The person will say no. Do you have a bank account? No. Do you have anything, anywhere to save any money? No. How much do you have to your name now? If the person says 5,000 naira, the person is higher than me. Look for somebody who said that the whole money I have to my name right now is about 1,000 naira. Pick up that person and tell the person, you can become a millionaire in 2 years. That is my story. Just pick up that person and be like, do you know I can become a millionaire in 2 years? If the person says it's not possible, then let the person know that is just my story. From absolutely nothing. That's why I used to tell people, if you don't believe in that thing they call divine blessing, I am the only reason you need to believe that there's such thing called divine blessing. Because some persons here right now listen to me, you've done more work than I did when I started, but you don't have the kind of results. See, that day I went for that big event that I did that big announcement and nobody signed up. I went to him, I was telling God, what? I was like, God, have I not tried? Because I normally don't pray and come and be, I normally just do praise and I speak in tongues. That's how I pray. But that I was telling God, what did I do? I'm not messing up now. I'm not trying to rob. I'm not going into Yahoo, which is what most of my age mates are going into. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to people. I'm trying to do this the best. I'm trying to even learn the skills. I'm also trying to work hard. I don't even take alcohol. I don't smoke. What can I just do? I'm following the system. What did I do? Like I was pained that day. I was like, what did I go? What is it? But God knew that now some of you are not ready for the blessing. Because when the blessings start coming, you will not be able to contain it. When the blessings start coming, you would not be able to contain it. That day I cried. I was like, have I not tried? And the way devil works, he will make you look as if those who are not doing things that even look legal in the eyes of the society are now succeeding more than you. Because I'll see some boys who are talking about GB the way now. They were telling me we need picker, we need this one and that. I'll be seeing them post all this thing. I'll see them living large, going and having fun, drinking, doing all this thing, living as if they are living the best life. I'm like, me that is not trying to do this part. God, what have I? I was like, what have I done actually? And the way God did it, see, in everything I went through, having to, that is why I don't think anything actually break me right now. Because God told me, Samuel, you're trying to be a diamond, right? You have to go through pressure. If you study diamond, you know that for a diamond to be made, it is made under thorough, intense pressure. It is a compounded pressure that makes it become a diamond. We cannot get to where diamonds, we cannot mine to where diamonds. The only thing that brings up diamonds, what we're going to start digging around to get them out, are volcanic eruptions. We can't dig to where diamonds are made. It is impossible. For now, we don't have such technology. It is made under intense pressure. So all that thing I was going through, it was like, God, all the pressures coming in, coming out, coming from everywhere. God was like just molding me. God was like just molding me. He was like, I felt all that, and when I thought I felt the pressure, and the way this is so bad, and this did not come out. All this frustration and pressure did not happen to me when I was 25, when I was 30, when I was 40, when I was 50. All of this came when I was when I was still soft at a very young age. When it was so easy to break me, that was when all the pressure mounted on me. And after this diamond is formed under pressure, guess what happened again? It has to go through intense heat. Through lava. It has to go through that intense heat for it to become a diamond. It has to be burnt. You have to feel the heat. So even after I went through all the pressure, I felt I've gone through the pressure. Finally. Okay, you know what? I want to start to build myself by myself. Uncles, thank you so much. You guys have tried. Trust me, I have good uncles. They were not really bad, even though at some point I was living in my uncle's house as a security house, living in the security house, opening gates. Yes, I hated them for a very long time for that. Now that I handle responsibilities, I now know that here's the truth: nobody owes you anything. The reason I hated them was because I had a sense of entitlement. I had an entitlement mentality, and they are supposed to help. Why would they help me? As what? They did not owe me anything. So even the fact that I was eating in their house, my mentor wants to me that they don't owe you anything. The fact that they were even feeding you was enough. They don't owe you anything. I hated. I did not speak to any of my uncle until early this year. It was so much pain in my heart. Early, I just packed drinks and went and visited because I lost one of them. But thank God I spoke to Uncle Nweke before I lost him. I packed and I went to go and meet my Uncle Chukwudi. I went to go and give him drink. Now, anytime I go around, I always go to visit him. I spend time in his house. And even if he's not around, I can enter his house anytime and everything. I had to go and make peace with all of these people because I now realize that, man, these people did not owe you anything. I never thought about living it. So all those things I went through, what broke me the most was I was holding my father's hand and he passed on and I did not know. So since that day up to today, I believe that nothing else can break me. Nothing. As long as it requires, I work with my energy. I work with the way I speak. All I have to do is just be nice. Because I was praying that I was crying. That day I was crying. I was thinking, God, but God, am I not a good person? I try my best to be a good person. I don't do bad to people. I always help people the best way I can. Once I see somebody that is hurt, he hurts me the most. I do everything. God was like, being a good person doesn't mean you have money. God was like, just because you're a good person doesn't mean you have money. Being a good person has its own reward. And having money is not part of it. I always make this statement. It is impossible. Let me say it again. It is impossible for bad things to happen to me. Bad things don't happen to me. This is not faith. I am not speaking based on faith. I am telling you that it is impossible for bad things to happen to me. Bad things don't know how to happen to me. So I'm not praying. It's not a prayer. Ask anybody who's close to me. Like me, anything that it is impossible. Bad things don't happen to me. Ask anybody who's close to me, they'll tell you. Let me share just one thing. We went to Lagos. When we went to launch our team in Ota. I went for the Ota event. I went to Lagos airport. So I booked, when I wanted to book my return flight, I booked my flight that day. 3 days before before I leave Lagos. So after the event that day, that night after the QSD, I was supposed to leave the next day. Only for me to get to my hotel room and I got an SMS stating that my flight has been cancelled. I was like, what? I was so angry. I was like, these aero people are stupid because that was the third time they were canceling my flight this year. I was angry like aero contractors. How are these people? I went to contact them, just imagine people. I was so angry. Only for me to look close at that message. Guess what? The flight that was cancelled was my flight from Abuja to Lagos. That means when I was booking my flight, I was supposed to book from Lagos back to Abuja. I mistakenly booked it from Abuja to Lagos. And I was in Lagos. I was in Lagos and I booked a flight from Abuja to Lagos. So that flight that was cancelled. So when I look at it, I have to wait. So that means I booked this flight from Abuja to Lagos. And I did not know. That means when I go to the airport the next time, I'm going to Abuja. They'll be like, okay, where's your flight ticket? I'll show them. They'll be like, no, this one is from Abuja to Lagos, not from Lagos to Abuja. I was like, what? I just entered another, and remember, if they cancel the flight, they have to refund you all your money. I just went, I was like, by the time is short, so that means all the money would have increased. Only for me to open Arik to Lagos, the exact same time. Arik from Lagos to Abuja, the exact same time was the same amount. I went to my customer, my leaders, my friends, and Madam Naya. I told them, when I used to tell people that bad things happened to me, here's what I mean. My flight was just cancelled, and I was feeling bad that my flight was cancelled. Only for me to realize that my mistake was that the flight that was cancelled was because I booked the flight from Abuja to Lagos instead of from Lagos to Abuja. And the next flight I got is the exact same amount with the same time. So God must have been, look at this boy, he doesn't even know what he's doing. Come on. So I was feeling bad for everybody that was supposed to be in that flight because I knew that the reason God made them to cancel that flight was because of me. I knew that was the reason. I was like, all the people are supposed to be in that flight. I'm sorry. But bad things don't, it is impossible for bad things to happen to me. So everything I go to right now, what thing you want to be a diamond, you want to help somebody, this is how diamonds are formed. But when you find diamond like this, you find it raw material. You have to go and pass it through intense heat. After it passes through intense heat, you have to now go to the course. Because when I felt I had gone through the pressure, and God was like, "Are you ready for the? Are you through with the pressure?" I was like, "Ah, God, I'm through with it." God was like, "You know what? Turn up the heat." I went through all the heat, sleeping on computer, building, trekking, being insulted, everything. I'll give you someone question, and the person just, "You come on, get out of my sight. You know, come carry this thing, come on for here." It has happened to me before. And when I felt, okay, I'm finally through, God was not like, "Are you ready for the courts?" It's when you go through the intense pressure, the intense heat, and you go through the courts, that's when you become a diamond. But for those who know diamonds here, once you become a diamond, it is impossible for you to break. It is impossible for you to be broken again. When you get a diamond, see, the way they know diamond, just pick diamond. You don't even start looking at it, pick it, drop it out, hit it, boom. If it doesn't break, it's a diamond. If you have something in your hand and you're not sure if it's a diamond, carry it and use hammer, keep it on the floor, hit it. If it breaks, it's not a diamond. If it's a diamond, it is the ground, it is your ties, the cement, whatever you put, that is the thing that will break. The diamond will break. Because once they pass through that intense pressure, that intense heat, and it goes through the cuts, you cannot break it anymore. And that is what everybody's looking for. So God told me, if you want to help the world, you want to be the best, you want to leave a legacy, you want to do it the right way, you have to become a diamond. So you have to handle the pressure. You have to go through the pressure. You have to go through the heat. You have to have the cuts. Because that is the path you chose. Because that is the path you chose. So there's some part of my story that I've never even shared. Because a lot of things has happened in my life. I face trouble in the wrong table. I walk into anything. I mean, I don't care. I care enough, let it not be a danger. So I wouldn't want to hold a transformer and be like, I don't care. No. But as long as it's not a danger, it's something I have to fear, I walk into anything. I would walk into it. Because that was how I was trained. So why don't you outlast the pain to inspire somebody else? Because in all that thing I went through, it took me 11 months in this business to start making over $1 million. 3rd of April, when I went back to Abuja in November 2019, I was making about 500K. And my friend said, "Look at this, he's already making about 500K. Give him in the next 2 years, he'll start making over $1 million." I was like, boss, I reject it though. He was like, "What?" I said, "But I don't need 2 years, I need 5 months." He was like, "Wow," he said 5 months. I'm like, "I would like, if I make 500K now, by as of November 2019, how will I need 2 years?" I'm like, "No." I even told him, "Just give me before January." January, February, March, April, boom. March, rather. The month of March, boom. I sent to my leader, "Boss, I just made over $1 million this month." And since then, I never made below $1 million. Since then, up to today, I've never made below $1 million. I was showing some of my leaders something yesterday. What's today? Today is 4th of November. Today is 4th of November. In the past 4 days, in the past 3 days of November from this business, I made about 400K. As of 1st to 3rd already, I made about 400K. So imagine all the struggle I went through. Imagine all the struggle I went through. If God has imagine if I had quit at any part in the struggle, what would I have done? Probably go back to being a laborer, or go and to finish my school and get a good certificate to get a good job. Outlast your pain. One of my mentors once said that the only story you can share in this life that will worth your time is your own story. You can go ahead and share another story. Share the only story you ever share that is worth your time. I'm trying my best not to get emotional about it, because every time I share my story, you always make me cry. But I'm trying not to make that happen this morning. The only story you can ever share that will be worth your time is your own story. So accept the pain. I'm not saying that the pain will not be there. Accept it is part of your growth process. I had to go through, the pressure will mount on you and everything will come on you at the same time. On the road to success, everything, I mean, it will fall on you, literally. Like it will weigh down on you. I see people who are my age who don't even handle their responsibilities. I think if you know the kind of responsibility I have attached to my name, you never want to be me for one day. If I align my responsibility just for one, if I say just be me for 1 month, you can't handle it. You can't. I am telling you the honest truth. People who are saying, you're making something like that, you cannot handle it. One of my that came and met me and the person was like, but she's making money, but I want to unlock myself off just for 1 year and throw my SIM card away. That the bills is just unbelievable. You can't handle it. You can. You are looking at the result part, but you're not looking at the work done. You can handle it. So if you're here right now, that means you've gone through the beginners group, you've gone to the incubator group, you're qualified to be here right now. Don't mess it up. Do not mess it up. Because in the long run, nobody cares what I went through. No, Samuel, your father died when you were sick. Nobody cares. Somebody, you mean you're never recommended to this business? Yeah, you're never qualified to. Nobody cares. That means you've got a security in your own father's brother's house. Nobody cares. You used to be a hawker. You've hawked everything. When I say I've hawked everything, every single thing, pure water, granite, pawpaw, cucumber, carrot, whatever you can possibly think of that people sell on it. I not sell it. I hawked it. That means I have to carry it around and go and sell around. Oh my goodness. Nobody cares. You were living in a non-computer building. Are you serious? Nobody cares. So if people acting towards a leader, somebody who was an imagine that someone who was not showing up in the business again was telling one of the leaders, and can you imagine? People did not even see me. People were not calling me. I was like, thank God the person is not my meet. I was like, person, you are very stupid. You're not calling me. When next man start calling you as an emerging leader, I'm checking up here. I will call my leader who is rooted in the business. Even I'm calling emerging, and I will be calling you. How are you now? Nobody cares that much, because everybody's facing their own different go through. What you're going through right now may be worse than what I'm saying so far. So as I'm saying, you're thinking that this I don't know what I'm going through. That is your own go through. What I'm saying right now, for some of you, you're like, I don't think my own has been this bad. It is your own. Everybody's go through is different, but everybody have their own go through. What you're going through is your own go through. So go through it. It may not be money related, it may not be activity related, but it is your own go through. Then go through it, devour it, win it, outlast the pain. I always tell my leaders, outlast the pain. The pain will still come. Up to today, ask Ambassador Nefo. If Ambassador Nefo logs into this meeting today, if he comes to speak anytime, ask him, sir, do you still have a part where you go through the pain? Ask him today. Ask Ambassador Mike, ask Jeff, ask Elliot Moss. Up till today, there is still a winter for them. Ask anybody you know that have money. The winter may not be money related. That is the challenge. That is the thing. It may not be money related. So just because you have the money doesn't mean you will not have your own go through. You will have your own go through. But outlast that pain. Don't let the pain break you. Don't let it weigh you down. Don't let it overwhelm you to the point whereby you say, I give in. Don't give in. Don't give in. Don't let the pain break you so much to the point where you say, I give up, I give in, Don't let that happen to you. Don't be the one. Hear the story of people who gave in. Don't just be the one. I have this mindset of whatever it takes. Don't just be the one that will say that it was so painful. I did everything. I heard someone who said that I have been that who for 1 year and 4 months, this boy was doing activity every single day without a single sign up. Guess what he did? He made sure that he was good. He launched out. When he go and sign up from the city where he launched out, he was saying to you, see that post, I just got a sign up. I was like, I called him, I was like, I sent him money. I was like, I told him, wait, for 1 year and 4 months, you were every single day doing your activity. For 1 year and 4 months, no single sign up, and you were still showing up. I'm like, whoa, I know I have my own story, but that story is going to be deeper than mine. I was like, that story is going to be deeper than mine. Now, that is his own go through. When he started making $1 million, become $1 millionaire, we'll start celebrating him. Nobody will remember that for that 1 year that he was struggling every day, spending more money, buying questionnaire, putting in more money than he's making. Nobody saw that part. Nobody saw it. Nobody cared. But he's trying to become a diamond. You have to go through the pressure. If you want to become a diamond, you have to go through the hits. If you want to become a diamond, you have to get the cuts. And the way the cuts come, it doesn't come once in a while. All of them hit you at the same time. The way the devil will arrange, it will make it look as if the devil is working on you. No. God is allowing that to mount you, to cook you, so you become unbreakable. Your headache, fever, malaria, cough, all of them will hit you one day. They will not come one after the other. You have headache, fever, malaria, your child will be sick, your only leader who you are working with, who you're masterminding with the business, we quit the business. The only one sign up you've not got to after 5 months, you finally got one sign up, come and knock your door, like, please, I want my money back because I'm bringing police to you. And you've already done the encoding, and you did the encoding, you place it in the wrong way, so you have to go and even get this in. And you ask, okay, the person who placed on that to get his name and password, I've lost this, I need to go and pay when I get his name. All these things will hit you in one day. They will not come one after the other. That is the pressure that comes with being a diamond. So ask yourself, first of all, tell yourself, do I want to be a diamond? Ask, if your answer is yes, I want to be a diamond, then what does it take to be a diamond? When you define what it takes to be a diamond, have a mindset of whatever it takes. You want to be a diamond, it has to be whatever it takes. You want to be a diamond, it has to be whatever it takes. Go through your own go-through. I know I've shared my own part of that testimony. This is my own story. This is just a glimpse. My story is too big. If I want to go deep into my story, I'll get emotional with the whole thing. I may even start sharing things and everything. But that's what I don't like. I just like sharing the part that I can share and handle. I've been through some very messed up things. I can't, it's too heavy to even talk about, even up to today. I didn't just get here. I'm not a product of luck. It's not luck. I was cooked. I was pressed in pressure. I was burnt. I had to get the cuts. I did not just get here. But what that thing did was prepare me for here. These blessings today, I did not make these blessings. These blessings were already attached to my name. So God was preparing me for these blessings. That's sometimes some people do things today that normally before I would have split up and throw you out and insult you and do everything. But I now calm down and try to understand your own point of view. If it was me before, I would not do all of that. I would just break you. I would just shatter you with everything. Like I would just devour you. Like, but I had to be prepared for it. So let me tell you this part of it. God is not trying to prepare your blessing. No. God is not making your blessing somewhere. God is preparing you for the blessing. You are the one not prepared for the blessing. God is not trying to prepare the blessing for you. God is not trying to make a blessing for you and say, okay, just be working, let me making your blessing. No. We are the ones trying to prepare ourselves to handle the blessing. Look at God blessed Abraham so much for Christian. He blessed Abraham so much that it was not God. Abraham was like, this blessing you're giving me, it can't be for me. So it has to be generational. When he said, God said, I'm going to bless. Imagine God come and I open your door and I want to bless you. It's not like somebody say, I have an ocean, I want to give you water. You now bring a cup. You now bring a cup and you bring one bucket and I put the water for you. Come on now. So the blessing is not being prepared. The ocean of blessing is just there. It is you're being prepared for you to carry your own load and want to take as much as you want. I used to see the blessing like an ocean. So the little you're collecting is what you are prepared for. So whatever blessing comes to you is what you are prepared. You can get, see, I used to tell people that devil don't make blessing. So I see people going through things that will soil their hands, going through rituals to make money. See, devil cannot give you what you did not own before. It's as easy as that. So what he will do is that he will say that God have an ocean of blessing planned for you. He knows that with the way you are going, because he doesn't even know what God has for you. So, but he knows that the way you're going, that the reason God, you know that the way you're going, the thing God are passing you through, your blessings like an ocean. He will now bring a cup of water to you and be like, see, would you agree I give you this cup of water and take away all this your struggle? You must be like, yeah, I beg, just give me the cup of water. I don't want to go through a struggle. Once he give you the cup of water, once the cup of water finished, you don't have any blessing again. You will do everything you can do in the rest of your life. You don't have anything come to you again. Why? Because you've sold what you can get for just a cup of water. You sold an ocean for a cup of water because you could not handle the pressure of getting to the ocean. So God is not preparing your blessing. He's actually preparing us for the blessing one that he was supposed to get. So can you outlast the pain until you get your blessing? Can you just outlast that pain? It is difficult. It is not easy at all. But that is why you're called a diamond. That is why you're being celebrated. That's why you enter that people clap for you that child, this was the one that did it. That's why you enter with you. I am nothing. Up to today, I sit on the floor and I eat. I used to tell you that if I eat my cheese and if I'll pick it up and I'll eat it again. There is no, I don't know that part of. So when people talk about Mr. Samuel, I don't know what they're talking about. If I don't know what they're talking about, I still consume myself like the way I was all the while. It's people that think that things have changed. I don't even see anything that changed. I don't see it. It's people that are telling me that things have changed. I am not even seeing it. And that's how God blessing comes. To just say that he pushes us in steps. So when you don't see the change happen. But when you look back to who you used to be before and look at where you are today, you know that, oh my goodness, how did I get here? Sometimes I sit in my office and I'm just wondering, how did I get here? How did this happen? Was this magic? What kind of magic happened? How did I get to this particular point? I used to ask that question a lot. How did I get here? How did this change happen? How did this growth happen? I was not in control of this. I only did the part I had to do. I don't know how this happened. That is why I can knock my ask me, how do you, there is no, I can only tell you what I did, but there's no blueprint that once you do this, you get this. I don't know. Maybe I was ready for the blessing. And you know it is God's blessing when it doesn't add sorrow. People say that money cannot buy happiness. My own kind of money can buy happiness. My own kind of money. When you say money cannot buy happiness, because of the way you made the money. When you make money the right way, trust me, it will buy. I don't know about you, but my own kind of money buys me happiness. My own kind of money buys me happiness. I always try my best just to see if I can always see. I'm going to put something there. I always try my best just to have, because before every time I remember what I suffered to start this business, I always try to have about 50K cash always with me. I just have it. Just have 50K cash. Because every time I look at the money, I'm like, man, I just have 50K in my pocket. I could not afford to start this business 88 days. But even if I walk into anyone, it's a 50K emergency, I don't need my ATM card. I don't need to open my mobile app. If I walk into anyone and for example, let me imagine it was a kind of big business. I don't need my ATM card. It's not like, okay, just I don't need my ATM my ATM goes on bigger errands. I don't need my ATM card for all of that. It has become a habit. So my own kind of money buy happiness. Why? Because the blessing of God added no sorrow. The blessing of God added no sorrow. So if your own money is not buying you happiness, don't look at how you made the money. If you think that because you have money, you're going through pressure, the pressure goes to those who also don't have money. The reason God is giving you, to whom more is given, more is required. So the reason you're going through that pressure because more is being given to you. So more is required of you. That's why you're going through more pressure. So it's not as if the money brought a sadness. You know, my own kind of money brings me happiness. Because I spend my money, I spend my money the way I want to spend my money. I use my own, I use my own iPhone. I drive a Mercedes Benz. Trust me, trust me now. Whenever I'm driving that, I used to hold one hand. I just cruise around. You can't, people who get their blessing from doing illegal things and doing ritual cannot be showing off that the devil cannot bless you more than God can bless you. It's not possible now. It's not possible. I use my Mercedes to go for evangelism whenever I'm in Abuja to my church. And that's when I'm going to buy my Ferrari, it will be open roof. I will wind it down. We used to go for evangelism. It's not only devil that bless people and buy Ferrari for them. My own kind of blessing buys happiness. My own kind of money buys happiness. So if your own don't buy happiness, it is the start looking at how did you make the money? That's why you start looking at how did I make that money? So ladies and gentlemen, because about time I have to shut down here. But I've just shared a bit of my story. A bit of my story. That was how I got to know about La Buena Vida. Yes, I was a laborer if I started La Buena Vida Project. You're correct about that. I was actually a laborer. That was the only way I was making money if I saw La Buena Vida Project. Yes, I worked as a secretary before I joined the business. Yes, I did all of that. But why I was focused on what of things that have happened in my past and my future cannot, there is nothing to connect them at all. My shift if it was a straight line, the line was cut somewhere. My past and my future cannot connect. One bit. There is no connection between both. You cannot compare it. There is no connection. Because when you look at my past, you're like, no, this can't be the person. This cannot be the person. I was broken too much. This cannot be the person. I sit down right now and I sit down and I try to make this enter my head. I try to relax. I try to agree myself because sometimes I remember that I'm messed up a bit. I say this sometimes. I'm messed, and I agree sometimes that I'm messed up a bit. Sometimes it's painful. I just feel this pain of all these things that have happened in the past. But what I have right now, what when I see the future, I know that no. But sometimes it's painful. Sometimes it's painful. I wish my dad was still around. He was too good to just die that way. I wish my dad was. What he wanted for us as his children was too good. But here's the funny thing: if my father had not passed on, I wouldn't be here today. Because I would, if I had, see, let me tell you one thing: if I had mistakenly entered university when my father was around, the way I was behaving, I would have been, because I hate people bullying me. I hate people bullying me. And I'm very sure I would have been a cultist. And the kind of cultist I would have been is not the kind of cultist that they are there and they are scared. I would be the type that go and execute people. Like, I know even they feel them. I was too wayward for that. My own mistake last said I'll call my father. That was just my own last result. I would have been that kind of person. But because of all that pressure I went through, all that part of me died. It died instantly. So when I remember all this kind of stuff, like it's heavy. It weighs me, and I'm like, I just pray. I just start listening to motivation. I have to listen to a lot of motivation to remove something out of my head. You can't connect my past and my future. There is no comparison. There is no way to like, and this was what changed me. Nothing connects the both of them. I am a product of divine blessing. I am the definition of what you call divine blessing, but I had to do the work. I had to live through my own pressure. I have to go through my own go through. Go through your own go through. Make the best out of the business you just started. Become the best presenter in your team. Become the best closer. Become the best questionnaire giver. Become the best. Become the one that anytime they say what you are the one presenting, everybody will be like, hey, the guys are calling that even that people that have died from the grave, come and attend the presentation. No? You know who's presenting? Come and sit down. Everybody wants Ambassador Nefo to be under him. Why not become the Ambassador Nefo? I always tell my partners this: if I tell you to count the 5 people you like to sponsor in this business, and you want them to be under you, and you count 1 to 5, and your name is not there, you are not the person you need to become yet. If you ask somewhere, imagine who people that you want to be under you. The first person I want under me is me. I am not Ambassador Nefo, not Ambassador Mike. People that are way above me in skill and everything. No, trust me, these are way above me in skill and everything. But I've looked at my passion. I'm like, oh man, I can't jeopardize the kind of passion I have for anybody else. Even though they are better than me, mentors. I'm telling you, my own mentors. If you tell me to count, the first one I play, like, I want me under me first, and then I want Ambassador Nefo. So I want 1 me first, then 4, then 15 Ambassador Nefo under me. But it had to be me first, because I'm like, I'll tell myself, I will not be the power leg. That is how I see myself. So if you're counting and your name is not there, you have not become the diamond you need to become yet. So ladies and gentlemen, I hope my story will somehow motivate some persons here today to go and to outlast the pain. I hope my story will somehow motivate you to outlast it. I need you to outlast the pain. I need you to. There is pain. I'm not downplaying that fast, but I need you. Don't let the pain overweigh you. Don't let it get you so down whereby you begin to lose yourself. Outlast the pain. In fact, go to comment and write, I will outlast the pain. I will outlast the pain. I like what Madam Joy did there. Right? I will outlast the pain. I need you to outlast the pain. I need you so bad to outlast the pain. Someone said the patient does not eat the fattest bone. No. What I said was outlast the pain. The patient dog eat the fattest bone was written by one rich man that wanted people to see before. The patient's dog does not eat the fattest bone. Build something that will last. If you have to build it patiently, yes. But be fast while building it. So if you're supposed to give 10 questions, don't say, okay, let me be giving 1 a day. Because I want to be a patient dog. Give 200 a day. Know what you're being patient on. Be patient on the right thing. The patient does not eat the fattest bone. The patient does not die since, okay? Say, I will outlast the pain. The idea is that be patient enough when you are outlasting the pain. But when you're doing the activity, don't go and be patient and be doing the activity. Yes, the patient eat the fattest bone, but what you're patient on matters also. Okay? So because of our time, ladies and gentlemen, I have to shut down the meeting right now. But I just wanted, today was not a training. Today was more like I just wanted to motivate people a bit. I wanted to motivate a bit using my own story. Just get out of your comfort zone and make things a bit difficult for you. Ask yourself, can I succeed if it's difficult? I told some people, some of the interns I was having my training, I told them yesterday, most of them are youth, very young people who are still under their parents and everything. I told them, imagine your parents don't feed you for tell your parents that you don't want to eat their food for 1 week. You want to sort yourself out. Do that. Tell parents that mommy, daddy, I want to be training myself now. For the next 1 month, I don't want to eat any food that comes from this house. I will sort myself out. produce your own food. Tell them not to sleep on their bed. Give them their bed, and tell them I may sleep under your roof, but let me buy my own bed. Take care of yourself for 1 month and see what will happen. So outlast the pain. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. Glory. Okay. I'll have to shut down the meeting right now. I'm trying to get from my mastermind if there's any announcement to be made. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, I have to shut down the meeting here. I believe I've been able to help you. Okay, yes, my boss is here. My boss is here. I believe I've been able to help everybody. We're going to have our mastermind give us a bit of information that will shut down the meeting right about. After my mastermind speak, that will shut down the meeting, okay? So thanks so much, everyone. I hope you've got value. Outlast the pain, outlast the pain. Start making plans to start share. So anything you go through, go and write it down. It's going to be part of my story. Anything you go through, go and write it down, part of your story. Anything you go and write it down. Because today, I just do things. I just do things without sentiment. I am too principle based that if you stay there, you may think I'm too harsh, I'm too mean. Because it was what brought me here, I'm not going to jeopardize that for anything. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, I have my elite mastermind here, my mentor's mentor, and thank you so much, boss, for the opportunity to share my experience, share my own story today. And thanks so much for believing in me, and thanks so much for mentoring my own mentor that mentored me. I don't think I can say this enough. I don't think I can say this enough. I used to say before they are now 3, but before they were 2. There were only 2 human beings on earth that once I enter somewhere and I see that you are fighting, I will not ask what the problem is. I will first of all pick button and break another person's head that is fighting against you. And after I come and start asking, hey, what's the problem? Why are we fighting? And that person is apart from my mom then and one other person. The other person I could do that for is my boss Vivian. If I enter somewhere and they are fighting and she's fighting with somebody, I will not ask what the problem is. I'll first of all break the person's head. After I start asking, hey, why are we even fighting? Even if he's at fault, I don't even care. That is how much I care about this particular person. Okay. Then imagine the person who mentored her. And I got a lot of mentorship directly from Ambassador Nefo, and I'm very grateful for that. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, help me welcome my mentor's mentor and our own elite mastermind, Ambassador Obianefo Esimaya. Help me welcome him on the comment section, please. He's not an ordinary person to me. He's not an ordinary. These are people that God used to shape my life. These are people that God used to solve that puzzle of Samuel. These are people that God used to put in places to direct me to the right direction. Okay, so I respect this man so much, and I am so grateful that God used him to get me where I am today. So, ladies and gentlemen, please help me go to the comment section and welcome once more our own elite mastermind, Ambassador Obianefo Esimaya. Boss, you're welcome.
Good morning, everybody. Super One Samuel, you've hit the nail on the head. You keep doing that all the time. A word is enough for the wise. Some of us would like to also speak like this. Some of us would also like to share our experiences. Don't worry, there's always time for everything. Grow to a place of leadership. The truth of the matter is that all of us have stories that can move a people. There are some people that my story will not touch because I went to school. I finished with a 2-1. So whatever I say, no matter how bad things got to me at any particular time, they'll say, after all, you finish school, you have the experience. But such people, Samuel's story will reach them. There are some people Samuel's story will not reach, or your own story will reach them. But the only time we'll have a story is if we're willing to go through the fire. That's the only time we'll have a story of triumph. Now, there's a